Ich bin gerade auf dem Weg und treffe die Ellie von der MMF. Das ist meine Ansprechpartnerin für eigentlich alles. Die MMF Indonesien ist relativ klein. Ihr kennt sie aus dem vorherigen Video, wo es um einen Tag mit der MMF ging. Ich werde sie ein paar Fragen stellen und hoffe, euch gefallen die Insights. Viel Spaß! All right, Ellie, congratulations. You made it in my YouTube series, five questions to interesting people. That's the way around.
What an honor.
Yeah, what an honor, I guess. So the people who are watching this video most probably know you already because we've spent one day, but I think we didn't go too deep into you like as a person, and maybe you want to say first like just a quick introduction. Who you are.
Sure. So my name is Elitza, but most people call me Ellie, and I'm a senior scientist with the Marine Megafauna Foundation. And I've been with MMF for about 8 years. Started out as a volunteer and then decided to do some higher learning. So did my PhD studying the manta rays of Komodo and Nusa Penida, and specifically focusing on plastic pollution. And so since then I've been running a small team of Indonesian researchers and basically trying to build their scientific abilities here.
All right, cool. So you grew up in Canada. How did you end up living now in Indonesia and not in Canada anymore? Like,
that's such a long story, but I will give you the short version. So yeah, I've always grown up by the sea, so I've always been fascinated. I actually am from Bulgaria. I spent my summers on the Black Sea, and then when we immigrated to Canada, we moved to Newfoundland, which is that island that sticks out the Atlantic. So it's always been in my life. And at one point, once I graduated from my university, I decided that I wanted to spend a little bit of time traveling. And through those travels, I started scuba diving, and I just really fell in love with the underwater world. I really didn't think I would be as excited to see sharks as I was, and then I went back to what was my former career now in medical research, and my entire time I just kept dreaming about the ocean. So whenever a little bit of vacation time came up, I would go diving. And eventually I thought, why not do this for a little bit longer? I went out to Southeast Asia, started off in Malaysia first. One thing led to another, and I found myself in the Komodo National Park. And on a fantastic dive there, I saw probably close to 100 manta rays.
Was it the first time you saw them?
It was the third time I saw them, but the first time I saw them in such a big number, and I was already quite fascinated by them. Like, it was always something on my diving bucket list once I learned about mantas. I had this dive, and there was like just mantas everywhere, just swimming above me, feeding all around, and eventually I surfaced. And the reason why I know there was close to 100 is because later on I found out that each manta has a different spot pattern, and I went back to look at my photos, and unintentionally, just because they were swimming above me, I had 42 identifications.
That's insane.
From that
one dive.
In one dive, yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Which dive site was it?
It was Karang Makassar or Manta Point, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I got lucky there once, but it was probably like 30, not 100.
So I wanted to go back, and I basically went to every dive shop in town. At that point, there was 4, and asked them if they needed anybody to work for them.
Now it's 25?
More probably.
More?
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
I managed to get a job, and while I was working there, I thought, well, I might as well use my time in the water wisely. And I just started logging my dives very carefully and collecting more of those manta photos. And then I heard about Manta Matcher, which is the online database for mantas. And I started contributing my photos there. And one thing led to another. And I met one of the people who created Manta Matcher. She wasn't the person that did the coding and that kind of things, but she was the scientist whose idea it was. And that's Dr. Andrea Marshall. She's quite famous for being the first person to complete her PhD on mantas. And
which number are you?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not. I think
top 20.
Probably top 20. Yeah.
All right.
But it's definitely more than that. And that was in 2008.
Crazy.
So it's only been less than 15 years that
Yeah.
we've actually had quite a bit of knowledge about mantas. And so I met her, and yeah, she basically took me under her wing, and I started studying with her group, and I did my PhD. And yeah, now I'm a project leader in my own right.
All right, you're just saying project leader. What is your favorite research project of all time that you did? You've been involved in a few, but do you have one that you say, this was my favorite?
Yeah, well, the Microplastics and Megafauna project was what my PhD was about. So that was focusing on the smallest bits of plastic that float around the water and large filter feeding animals. So mantas were one of my focal species, but also whale sharks. So it took me to different locations to study the problem from different angles and on different species. And there's still so much left to be done on this project for sure. But yeah.
That's the one.
I would guess that was the one. But I mean, studying plastic can be a little bit depressing, because the more you dig into it, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
Everywhere we look, we find plastic. It's even in our blood now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do great things to us. So thinking about what it does to mantas, kind of makes you sad. So balancing that out with ecology work, where you're actually getting to study mantas in their natural habitats and how they use them, I think balanced out the project good. So that way, my morale was up and I can keep going.
Yeah. Okay. So I know that there are a lot of things that makes it difficult to work in Indonesia. But is there one thing, what you would say, like that bothers you the most in your field of work, like be it marine biology or like living remote on an island? Is there like this one thing where you say, oh man, if this wouldn't be there, then it would be perfect?
Well, it's always challenging getting equipment here, know. The other day, one of my loggers disappeared, so I have to wait 3 months to get a replacement.
Was it the thing we saw today?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing we saw today. So I had another one in another place. But it's very bureaucratic in Indonesia. There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of just understanding the procedures and the local way of doing things. And Indonesians are very, very nice people. And sometimes they're so nice that you never really understand when something is not possible, because they will not necessarily tell you it's not possible.
Yeah.
So I've spent a lot of time banging my head against walls trying to get something done, which didn't work out for one reason or another. So yeah, I would say that's probably the most frustrating thing. But I'm sure that happens in many places, not just here.
I guess so. So you're living here in Indonesia, like in Lembongan, you're since
2015. And
that's 7 years now, but
yeah.
you live in general in Indonesia since 13 years, right? You said 2009.
2009, yes.
Okay.
And Pulawai was my first.
Oh, Pulawai, nice.
Place.
I've been there as well.
My first my first manta was in Kalimantan. My second manta was in Pulawai.
Oh, okay, nice. So, I mean, you say this is your home, right? Like you're saying going home is Nusa Lembongan in Indonesia?
Definitely, yeah. It has been home for a long time. I can't imagine living somewhere else.
Okay, that's interesting. But is there one thing from, be it Canada or a Western country, what you miss? Like, for example, I don't know, going
food.
going in a cinema, I don't know, like.
Yeah, okay, this is gonna sound really funny, but I miss sidewalks.
Sidewalks?
I miss walking somewhere where it's
you know you're not under threat.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
There's just a spot for you to walk and it leads you to where you need to go.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, whenever I get a vacation now, I like to go to cities.
But Singapore is
go
not
for
far.
walks.
Yeah, amazing. But Singapore has great
Especially in
sidewalks.
parks.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I would not have guessed that. All right, then last question is like, if you said like it's hard to get equipment here. If you could have like one item, whatever it is, what would it be here on the island?
Probably a drone.
A drone?
Yeah.
Oh, that's doable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a drone, like to collect air samples, something, or just like to have fun and do some content.
There's lots of things you can do with that. Yeah, you can have fun and do content, but you can go and survey to see where the mantas are. Instead of taking the boat to look around, you can send your drone up and have a look. Some of them now, you can actually program them to do specific transect patterns, which can be potentially used for, surveying plastic slicks and things like that.
Cool. Yeah, interesting. I will have to research if every drone can do that or if it's like special ones.
I have some colleagues who have once upon a time given me some advice because I wrote a few grants trying to get one at one point.
All right, then fingers crossed that it works. Otherwise, maybe some of the donation money from Manta will be used for a drone one day.
Yeah, one day, yeah.
Let's see. All right, then there was 5 questions. Thanks for your answers. And if you have anything, I mean, like, I think the people that really follow the project and are like the people who support it the most will watch it. So if you have anything you want to say or address to them, then you can do that now. It's your chance.
Well, gosh, I am humbled by the amount of attention that our work here has gotten, and we really have been able to do what we do. So, you know, currently we have 2 students that are doing their master's degrees. One of them was with me for at least 3 years before that and got a prestigious scholarship. We could have only really done it with the support of Manta, which, you know, is thanks to you guys.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that you are nature lovers and you've decided to wear really cool nature-loving, supporting apparel. So yeah, please keep it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will grow. I'm pretty sure about that. All right, Ellie, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Now I don't know, like we will maybe grab some dinner, and you will leave the island tomorrow. I'll have a few more days.
Yeah, onto a little bit of a whirlwind trip, but I'm really excited about my next location, which is in Sumbawa. It's an island that faces the Komodo National Park, but it's the side of the park that very rarely people go to.
That's amazing. Remote dives are the best.
And I've heard rumors that there's mantas there, so
let's see.
Wish me luck that I find them.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right. Ich hoffe, die Einblicke haben euch gefallen. Er ist auf jeden Fall, finde ich, eine super spannende Person und auch einfach ein bisschen verrückt, das hier alles so mehr oder weniger auf eigene Faust zu machen. Wenn es euch interessiert, was weiterhin passiert, dann freue ich mich natürlich, wenn ihr den Kanal abonniert oder das Video liked. Wenn nicht, ist aber auch irgendwie komplett egal. Und ich hoffe, euch bald wieder mit spannenden Insights rund um Manta und dem ganzen Zeug, was ich so mache, hier unterhalten zu dürfen. Bis dahin.